he'll post pictures. In fact, if you just Google nasal breather versus mouth breather, and you Google the pictures, have you ever seen this? Maybe I can find. I don't know where my phone is. I don't know.
I'll do it.
You'll notice. See this? So this is like a mouth breather. So you'll see his chin is small,
and it's almost caved in.
Yep. And they have like actual pictures of people like this too. So then they'll do exercises. So this is an actual kid, right? So you can see his mouth breathing. You'll see this where like sometimes people have a double chin kind of thing. Their chin looks really small, and they think, oh, it's just how I was born. But then they'll start doing these breathing exercises, mouth taping at night, and then they get this square jaw. Men start looking really good. Women look a lot better as well. It's crazy how it changes the way your facial
It's
structure.
crazy.
In fact, if you ever see people with big bags under their eyes, the bags are usually a result of
mouth breathing.
Okay,
that's good to know.
Yeah. So if they would change that, those bags under their eyes would actually go away.
So a lot of times you have to just train yourself. That's why you tape your mouth. Train yourself to do it. Because at night you might have a tendency to open your mouth.
Yeah, like a lot of people sleep apnea or snoring. It's a great way to solve it is just tape your mouth.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a crazy thing to do, but after you do it, you sleep better. You really do.
Yeah. And the other thing too with it is that he mentions is they say scientifically after 30 years old you can't grow muscle, but he's actually been able to grow muscle in his jaw through the techniques that he's done. He said it was like 5 pennies worth of muscle growth, and super interesting. There's a lot of behind that book, or a lot of. I need to go read it again. It's one of those books that I just want to read it again to get more info out of it. But
yeah, it's a great book.
It's a crazy. It's a potentially life-changing thing for me.
Absolutely. I think
honestly.
for a lot of people in modern society. Yeah. I think it'd be a huge thing. That's something we haven't talked about on the podcast before, so it's interesting you brought that up.
Yeah.
So
it's cool. I haven't talked to anybody else that had read the book.
My little brother actually, he's big on it, and he introduced me to taping my mouth, and I'm like, what, are you crazy? And so then I started doing research, found the book, bought that book. And then, because I had heard of Andrew Huberman, I love his podcast.
Yeah, Huberman's great. I follow a lot of his meditating and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you like him, there's another guy named Peter Attia.
Okay.
Who also they do a lot of stuff together, and he wrote a book called Outlive. But this is another subject that they both talk about a lot. They actually, I was going to send you. Maybe I did send it to you the other day. He's one of the guys that does a really great job of breaking down cholesterol. And it's interesting to hear his, conversation about cholesterol and actually teaching what cholesterol is, what it does, why it matters. So it's interesting. But yeah, both of those guys. So yeah, follow them. And then that's what Andrew Huberman actually mentioned that book.
Oh, cool.
And so that's why I bought that book. So it's really good.
Yeah. And James I just listened to his podcast he was on Rogan a couple years ago.
Yep.
Talking about it too. So
it's awesome.
Cool.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. You're everywhere in St. George recently.
Seriously, every time I get on social media, Macrae's face is in my phone.
Yeah, everybody. You've done a phenomenal job.
Who are you? What do you do? What's this all about?
Yeah, so, that's, I'm not comfortable on social media still. It's taken a lot and I still am not comfortable in front of a camera. It's even stuff like this. Like I try, but it's been so good for what I want. It's like the business that I'm in is like the perfect thing for who I am as a person. And it's the videos and the social media has really just helped bring the connector mindset out of me, really wholeheartedly. But I am in real estate. I own a title company called Eagle Gate Title. We do the closings for real estate transactions is the easiest way for me to explain what we do. Yep. There's a whole lot more to it than that. But in a nutshell, most people don't know what a title company is, but they do know that they're going to go close on their house. So that's how I get through to people. Having said that, the videos and the newsletter and what's happening in Southern Utah was born out of a few different things. One, the way we get business is 100% word of mouth referral. We work with mortgage lenders, realtors, builders, developers, people that are that are in charge of real estate transactions are the ones that are telling their clients, okay, you're going to go here for closing.
Yep.
And so when we started our business in 2015, it's actually 8 years tomorrow. August 10th, 2015 is when we started it. And that was my thing, was I was going to go out and get the business, and I was going to go meet people. And one of a friend of mine that was also in the business was like, you should do a newsletter and just as a way to drip and stay in front of agents. And I was like, man, I hate newsletters. Like, that's just, I don't want to do like a templated newsletter that people are just going to delete anyway,
Never
right?
read. Right?
Or it's just going to go to their spam or whatever. But I was like, okay, I'll think about it. So a few months later, I went to the What's Up Down South Summit here in St. George, and all the developers had all their the projects that were coming, and I had been all over town. In that time, I was just trying to meet people in the real estate community. So I was in brokerages all day long. And as I was going around town, I noticed dirt moving. And as a kid from here, I loved seeing new restaurants. I loved seeing new things to do. Mm-hmm. So I got really excited, and I was going around, and between that and the What's Up Down South Summit basically gave me the idea to just do a newsletter that was just what's happening in Southern Utah and all the new construction. I said, if I run out of content one day, like, I'll figure it out, but I'm just going to start with that. Yeah. And so that's how it started, and it started introduced me to people, and people started following it. And then in 2018 is when I started doing the videos, and because the newsletter is a comprehensive list of the entire county. Yeah. And I found out what a drone was. I started flying a drone, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Maybe we could do some drone videos of these different areas. And that's what led to what it is today. And it was really out of one, because as a title company, I knew that if I marketed myself from my personal brand as a title expert, it would only carry so far. But if I branded myself as a real estate expert, then it wouldn't corner me into just being a title expert that no one even understands anyway. Yeah. And so I started those videos and the newsletter as a resource for all those people that were sending me business, the realtors, the builders, the lenders, because they pass it on to a lot of their clients that are moving here, or they want to be educated. And so I was kind of just like the one-stop shop for finding out what's going on.
All things real estate.
And so that's what, and then the educational piece of just becoming more known. So I love connecting, like I say. And so if I can get people to come to me and say, hey, I'm looking at buying a home. Can you help me? Or, hey, I'm looking to sell my house. Or, hey, I need a plumber, or I need an electrician, or I need, in some fashion, whatever the case may be, I wanted to be the guy that people could come to, and then I could refer people out. And I knew that if I focused on referring out, that people would refer back to, they would think the reciprocation, right?
Yeah,
and just
what a great philosophy.
Kind of the giver's gain mentality. I don't know if you guys have been involved with BNI ever, but their motto is giver's gain. And I think the more that you focus on giving, the more that you're going to get in return. And that was just the mindset that I wanted to have. And that's what led to what I have created. And then I'm just a big friends and family guy, and real estate's such a friendship game. You do business with who you're friends with. Yep. And so between those two things, it's just the perfect industry, the perfect business for me to be in. Yeah. And I love it.
Awesome.
Talk about that mindset. You obviously, just the giving. I mean, 2015, you start this new thing, and you probably, I mean, I guess what's the whole mindset behind that? I love that. I think sometimes people might go, okay, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me?
Totally.
And that's that. I guess there's an element of that. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't probably do it.
Exactly.
So where do you, draw the line with that? How do you keep it to where you really are giving? And then were you concerned about monetizing it? Yeah. Or did you just feel like, I'm really just going to give, and whatever comes? Did it naturally flow in? Did you have to go get stuff and start monetizing it? Mm-hmm. How did it work?
So, and that's the thing is, in business, the end goal is to make money, right? And so you can do
it's business, not a social club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you have the mindset, there's a book called The Infinite Game. It's by Simon Sinek. I don't know if either of you have read it, but it talks about having an infinite mind, which is more of which is along those lines of how can I give more? How can I and how can I do business in a way that is not necessarily a zero-sum game? In our business in real estate, there's 2,000 real estate agents. There's a couple hundred mortgage lenders. There's 14, 15 different title companies. And we're all working together. There's a buyer's side. There's a seller side. You have to think infinitely in a way that, like, just because I'm winning doesn't mean somebody else can't be winning too. Right. And you really have to have that in real estate, because we work even with other title companies. We have to do splits all the time with them where they're handling one side and we're handling the other side. We want to make sure that we have a good relationship so that when we're working together too, there's not any, hard feelings. Right. And so that's being in real estate has really brought that aspect out of me. I'm a really competitive person. I grew up playing sports. My dad, like we talked about, was my coach, and very competitive growing up. And it was that book, and I read that book right around the time that Kobe Bryant died. And so I remember really, really well, because Kobe was like the ultimate competitor as well. But Kobe's mindset was a killer mindset, and he wanted to win. And you can have that killer mentality. And I'm not talking about participation trophies necessarily. It's just more so, just because I'm winning doesn't mean like my teammate or my opponent can't win also.